Here we are, another day, and it is the Crush Method Daily Show. And today I want to talk to you about how do you choose your response when it feels like you don't have a lot of choice. So, this is a really important topic right now because there's so much happening in the world and there's a lot of uncertainty. There's a lot of people talking about things. And I just wanted to share some ideas that can help you as a virtual coach who perhaps is working from home or has this ability to respond that honestly was not available the last time the world kind of felt this tone, kind of felt this emotion, right? So there's a lot of emotion and a lot of charge going on right now. And it's completely understandable because there's a lot of uncertainty. You know, you had plans, you had things that you were going to do, and it turns out that the plans have changed and there's nothing that you can do about it. And there's a lot of, when we've been talking about change a lot in the coaching community for the last few years, it's often this change that comes from within and this change that is coming from a desire to change and to improve and to aspire. And what's really coming up right now is there's so much change that's happening that people don't have a choice about. And so there's generally going to be a strong reaction to that, right? Like when you have plans and they suddenly change, you have an emotional response to that. That's just what it means to be human. So, what I wanted to talk to you guys about today, because, my name is Amanda Kaufman. If this happens to be the first time that you're watching our daily show with the Crush Method, we work with coaches to help them work with other people. And so, I wanted to talk to you today, coach, about how you might be able to show up in the world in a very helpful way by choosing your response to the changes that are happening rather than just reacting with everybody else. Because the truth is, when you're a coach, you are choosing to be a leader of some kind, right? Like if you are in the personal development world, if you're helping people to live healthier lives, if you're helping people to have more connection in the relationships, or you're helping them to build business, the odds are your ears are perked really high right now. With all of everything that's going on and changing. So I want to talk to you today about how do you choose your reaction when change is coming from outside of your personal control, because that's exactly what's happening, friends. Is there's so much that is going on around us that it's easy to get into our default response and into our default reaction, and to maybe panic a little bit, or maybe not panic, but maybe just be concerned and have kind of like this energy of tension because of the uncertainty. And so I guess what I was thinking about today is I was like, guys, this is a massive opportunity for you to choose how you want to react first, coach, and choose how you want to lead and inspire other people to choose how they want to respond and react. Because if there's choice in how we're taking that action, then that allows us to do things in a measured way, right? And to do things in a strategic way. I was listening to one of my mentors, and he is an expert on how do entrepreneurs preserve their finances. And there was a lot of craziness. This was a couple of days ago, but he dropped this gold that I just have to pass on to you, which is, panic turns dollars into pennies, and patience and persistence turns pennies into dollars. So what does he mean by that, right? It's basically like you want to make decisions not from a big emotional place, but from a place of being thoughtful and strategic and choosing to do so. And I know that that's not always easy to do. So I thought we could start today with like, what do you, coach, have to do? And then what can you take into your social media feeds or into your conversations that you may be having with people? Because there are parts of the country that are experiencing social distancing, meaning they're being advised not to leave their house, not to connect and touch people's hands. It's not like full lockdown quarantine, but people are getting really concerned about that. And that's completely understandable because it's very disruptive to our patterns and what's normally happening. So the first thing, coach, is to take care of your own energy, right? So take care of your own energy is the very, very first thing. That means managing your breath, managing your sleep, managing your energy, managing your catastrophic thinking, right? really taking the time to observe, what am I feeling? How am I thinking? Why is that going on? And you have more tools than the average bear to help you to do that, right? Because you're going to really approach that whole thing with a lot more knowledge about what to do to like manage that. So that's the first thing, manage your own energy. The second thing is recognize the energy of the room that you're in, right? So meaning it's tempting. It's so funny because I have pink hair, right? I obviously bring energy to whatever I'm doing. And I was chatting with one of our clients in our Let's Launch Your Coaching Biz program yesterday, and the question I got was basically kind of assuming that because I have a lot of energy, that maybe I need to change my brand and need to change like how I'm showing up to the world because of what's going on, that maybe I need like a more somber tone, or that I need to, I don't know, do something radically different about who I am and how I present. And I would say that that's absolutely not what you should do. You should not change who you are and change how you're presenting. You shouldn't change, the motivations or the reasons that you became a coach or any of that. But at the same time, recognize the energy of the room that you're in. So if I come on here and I'm talking about how do you be a coach in this environment, right? That's going to be way more resonant and helpful to you than necessarily me coming live and saying something that is ignoring everything that's going on. But at the same time, like, I don't need to perpetuate a lot of discourse about what's going on. I instead want to focus on like paying attention to your energy, paying attention to what you want to hear and what you need to know. And you generally are tuning in to listen to me because typically it's for business advice and life advice. And how do I keep showing up to my coaching business? And how do I keep on showing up to how I serve and all of those kinds of things? So when I pay attention to that, but I recognize that you are being surrounded, you're being inundated very likely by the news feeds, by the social media feeds and the negative discourse and like all the craziness that's going on, then my energy needs to meet you where you are, but at the same time, be a little bit of a lift. Right? That's kind of the sweet spot that I'm going for. And it doesn't mean that I need to change who I am, change what I offer, change what I do. It's just recognize the energy that's in the room and bring the energy into the room that is going to be helpful to everybody in it. And I'm talking about a room, but I mean virtual rooms too, right, guys? Because we're here live. And I think recognizing that, and then step 3 is think about what you can say that will genuinely be helpful to people slowing down and thinking about what they want to do. So there's this fine line between like commentating on what the experts know and the experts understand and like lecturing people, right? To do stuff. Instead, I would say like putting your energy and your impact into helping people to do the best with what they have, right? And to take care of themselves and take care of their energy and take care of what needs to be taken care of, and to help them to feel the calmness and the control coming from the standpoint of your expertise, right? I think something that's really perpetuating badly right now is people keep copying and pasting information about what's going on from social post to social post to social post, saying like, this is helpful information or this is like additional information. And what's really dangerous about that is that it's adding information that when you go to a credible source like the CDC or the WHO doesn't reflect that information that's written in that post, but then it's like, it sounds kind of plausible. So then people take it, they copy and they paste it. That's perpetuating a lot of the fear and the panic, right? Because people are reading and scanning and they're trying to decide whether this is true or that is true, right? So my encouragement to you as a coach is like, your stuff. So if you happen to be a health coach, talk about how can you eat healthy if you're eating at home more, right? That's your area of expertise. That's your wheelhouse. Talk about that because that's helpful, right? That's super helpful. But if you're talking about like copying and pasting things from your thing to the other thing, and it happens to be from a friend that you think is kind of trustworthy, you might be perpetuating something instead of helping. If you're a business coach and you know a lot about marketing and messaging and things that a small business owner who's worried about not getting as much foot traffic, right? What can you say that might help them to navigate this tough time? Or maybe you're a money expert, or maybe you're a relationship expert. And maybe you could be talking about how do you keep the relationship positive? Or you're a parenting expert. How do you talk about what's going on with your kids without freaking them out? Like, these are all kinds of things that you could be talking about, coach, that might really, really, really help the situation. But it all starts with you choosing what your reaction is going to be first, taking care of number one, putting your own mask on first and making sure that you're healthy, you're good, you're happy. And, to your most extent possible, recognizing the temperature of the room that you might be in, and then responding to that, not with perpetuating stuff that's going to scare people and not necessarily help the situation, but rather bringing information that really is going to help, that's coming from the place that you do know how to talk about, right? Like that feels like a really helpful way that a coach can really help. I wanted to give you a bonus tip because I got this from a private session yesterday. I was working with a private client, and she was saying, she has a lot of people in her world that are like healthcare workers and kind of frontline response. And she was like, what can I do as a coach to help this situation when I'm not like a healthcare worker? Like when I'm not really on the front lines, but I feel like pulled and on my heart to really help. And I shared with her a couple of ideas that I thought maybe I might share with you today. And by the way, we're going to be spending a whole lot more time talking about like messaging and why people engage on all of this for coaching purposes in our Coaching Biz Action Challenge. So if you haven't joined, you still can. It's live. It's starting on Monday. We're keeping it as scheduled. It's going to be at thecrushchallenge.com. So go sign up for free. And what we're going to do, what I said to her yesterday in terms of what you could do if you feel like you are not qualified to necessarily help directly with what's going on in the situation, and the messaging is different. The messaging that I talked about earlier is like, yeah, but I want to do something more. Something I've done in the past is I've used my marketing power, as little as it was at the time, to do some charitable challenges and things like that. So I basically chose to make donations through my business to, I think I did hurricane relief one year. I did another where I was donating to like the Red Cross, the Heart and Stroke Foundation. So, there's ways that you can actually help without necessarily perpetuating, copy pasting things and like doing stuff and kind of spreading fake news and things like that. Instead, like, help the organizations that are already in place trying to figure some of this stuff out. If it just comes down to making a donation or helping in that way, or if it's just raising awareness about how people can bolster their health and their well-being and like, feel safer and secure, those are going to be kind of the big things that you can do. So I hope that this helped. I hope that this gave you some ideas and some things to think about. And we're going to be live with the challenge. We're going to do the challenge next week is basically you go to thecrushchallenge.com, and we're going to be hosting it inside a Facebook group. So we're not doing it live on this page. You've got to go and register at thecrushchallenge.com to join us. I really think it's a good idea, right? Like if you're building your business, or you're in flight with your business, or you're thinking about like, geez, I want to make sure that I've got an idea of how I can systematize how I'm helping people, that I'm not getting spread too thin, and I'm really focused on building a virtual coaching practice, definitely go to thecrushchallenge.com and sign up for this free challenge, because it's going to be an awesome way for you to help focus your energies. And we can't wait to help you in this 100% virtual challenge that we're going to be doing on Monday. So we'll see you then. Okay. Bye.